Can you see me?
Hi, so my name is Sherry, and I'll be reading a story about my aunt written in my perspective. And it's called Salamat. The elderly man led me to their home, a bahay kubo at the outskirts of the barrio. Its bamboo walls looked as frail as he was, dressed in his loose clothes. Both could have easily be Both could have been easily swept away by a monsoon. The thatch roof of the bahay kubo was made of palm tree leaves that seemed to have landed on the house by accident. Half of the structure was held up by stilts, while the other drooped as if merely an afterthought. The windows were closed, but dim light escaped through the thin wooden lattice. It was well before dawn, and the scent of dew was strong. To get to the hut, we shuffled through a rocky path surrounded by overgrown shrubbery. Grasshoppers frantically chirped their protest, or perhaps their welcome. We were only guided by the man's memory and his gas lamp. Barely awake, I fell prey to the shadows' tricks. My vision was haunted by their spectral movement. I tried to keep up with the old man, who was nimble even at his age. Salamat, the elderly man spoke up. He had come to me earlier to ask for help. His granddaughter was in labor, and they needed my expert hand. I was known for working around the clock, rain or shine. Salamat, he said again. He wished to thank me, but this time, like all other times, I was worried about those words. I did not want him to thank me yet. We walked on until finally we had arrived at the hut. Even before the man opened the door, the stench of burnt herbs hit us hard, erasing all sense of dew. As we entered, it seemed as though we had arrived at an oracle's temple, though a small one. Rooms were not only filled with smoke, but murmur of incantations could also be heard. I was shown into a section of the house where I saw the manghilot, the folk healer, already at work with the pregnant woman who was groaning on the wooden floor. The healer was so old, the pungent smell of herbs seemed to be coming directly from her. She appeared weaker than the woman whose face was twisted in delirium from pain. However, she was said to control the other woman's fate. She was chanting as she rubbed leaves and coconut oil onto the woman's brown belly and hips. I greeted them. Neither seemed to hear. Both were too preoccupied with their work. The woman's grandmother, there to silently give her support, welcomed me instead. Salamat, she said in a gravelly voice. She was expressing gratitude, but I did not want her thanks. Not yet. I took a closer look at the expecting woman. I was the only assigned midwife in our rural Filipino town, so I had been giving care to countless women. Still, I did not recognize this woman. I had not seen her before. However, she appeared like every other woman in labor that I have seen. She was taking sharp, raspy breaths, clawing the air for relief. She might be in her middle years, but she looked older as her face wrinkled in pain. I knew nothing of her medical history as she was a transient. Anything could go wrong, and I was not equipped with tools or machines to undo the damage. Only my knowledge of childbearing and training could help me. All this was risky, I knew, but I could not refuse them. Not when her grandfather came a long way to my house before dawn. Not when this was my sole duty for the town. Not when there were two lives concerned. I will do what I can. I checked her vitals as the healer continued to try to ease her pain and prepare her for the delivery. She had earnestly performed her rituals, and it was my turn to do my own. The vitals looked good. I then asked the woman's grandmother if they had a clean cellophane sheet to lay under the woman. I also requested a fresh blanket for the coming child. He looked like porcelain, fragile and pale, in stark contrast to his tawny, exhausted mother. He was cocooned in the blanket as he kicked and cried in the wake of his birth. The woman smiled wearily when she saw her child. She laid her head down and shuddered. As she did, she took her last breath. The sun had broken the horizon. The roosters trumpeted their daily song. A new life had been brought into the world, but another was lost. Salamat, the woman had whispered. I do not think I deserved her thanks.